Hello, everybody. Welcome to this amazing celebration of this amazing. This victory may seem to much of the world as though it arrived as suddenly as a bolt of lightning, but the people in this room know that this took years and years and decades to come, and it's here. And it's here today. Thank you for coming. I have the added special pleasure. My name is Art Johnston. I'm one of the owners of Sidetrack. I have the added personal pleasure today to be able to introduce to you the Midwest Regional Director of Lambda Legal, Jim Bennett. As you know, Lambda Legal are the watchdogs, the protectors, the defenders of LGBTQ people in the courts. But beyond that, they have aggressively fought to achieve equality in the legislatures as well. Jim Bennett served as the head of the coalition of citizens and organizations that brought marriage equality to Illinois through the legislature. One of only, remember this, only 8 states in America achieved this through legislative action. So not only in the courts, but in the legislatures as well. I want to introduce to you one of my personal heroes and one of the leaders of equality in Illinois, in the Midwest, and across America, Mr. Jim Bennett.
Of Sidetrack, of course, and Art and Peppy as well. This really is our community center in so many ways. This is where we came when HIV and AIDS became a huge threat to our community. It's where we gather anytime there's something horrible or something awesome that happens. And Art and Peppy have been on the front of every issue that has faced our community, and so there's nowhere else that we should be today than in an awesome gay bar. This is a day that's fascinating because we're celebrating 2 anniversaries as well in gay rights. There's the Lawrence decision that was when all of the sodomy laws were struck down in the remaining states, a Lambda Legal case, and it made us no longer criminals. And it opened the door for us to pursue everything that we want and should be able to have as citizens of this country. And then 2 years ago with the Windsor decision, where it was part of the Defense of Marriage Act was struck down, and we were able to recognize our marriages as an individual right. And each of those victories have been an important step. But to me, the key thing, and it's something that every one of us can share here, is coming out and being ourselves and talking with our parents and talking with our coworkers and having those awkward, uncomfortable conversations until people realize that we want the same thing as everyone else, that we want to be able to be treated the same and have the full protections and responsibilities that come with our lives. And today we've won it. Today in the Supreme Court in the above we have a victory that you can marry the person you love, and that our federal government recognizes that. And it's a wonderful, wonderful day. And I want to thank it'd be impossible because everyone here has worked on this, I know. I do want to recognize our sort of first couple of Illinois. I'm not exactly sure where they are, but Jim Darby and Patrick Bova. After they shot from Nashville and got us all in the armed services. Only our movement would fight to be in the military, get married, have kids. It's crazy. But they have been at the very beginning, and they were our lead plaintiffs in Illinois, and they were absolutely extraordinary. And again, I want to thank everyone for supporting Lambda Legal, and please stay with us in the work ahead. There's plenty of work ahead, but today we celebrate. Thank you.
So I also want to talk about our supporters. In planning our event today, someone on social media asked, why Sidetrack? Well, here's why Sidetrack. When Sidetrack opened in 1982, there was no sign that faced the street. There certainly wasn't the beautiful room that we're all standing in today, and there were no politicians who were eager to speak to its patrons. Numerous times, doors and windows had to be replaced due to homophobic vandalism. And in this city, at that time, you could still be fired simply for being gay, lesbian, or transgender. But within the walls of this small storefront bar were a team of employees and patrons who were determined not only to make their lives better, but make everyone's lives better. Art Johnston and Pepe Penny, along with the general manager, Chuck Hyde, began 3 decades of a journey that moved equality over many bridges. Art Johnston, Equality Illinois, and Lambda Legal have been on this journey together since the beginning, including a non-discrimination ordinance in the city, the human rights ordinance for the state, civil unions recognized at the Cook County level, civil unions for the state of Illinois, marriage for the state of Illinois, and now the monumentous victory that we have today. Sidetrack has always been a place to celebrate the victories of equality, a meeting place and a community center, like Jim said. And over the years, we have welcomed leaders and politicians who were the vanguards on that political road to equality. Our next speaker is also someone who has been one of our community's strongest supporters. His leadership in helping achieve marriage here in Illinois is well known. I was very proud to introduce him last time he was here when marriage passed in Illinois, and I'm very proud to introduce him here again today. Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of the city of Chicago, Rob Emanuel.
Obviously, today is a historic day for the United States of America. Today, marriage is a right for all and no longer a distinction for some. Today, and from this day forward, every American can marry whomever they love, regardless of where they live. I could not be prouder of this day, and I gotta say, if I can take a personal moment, I could not be prouder of yesterday, because the Supreme Court of the United States made 2 major changes in the United States of America. Yesterday we guaranteed health care for all, and today we guarantee marriage for whoever chooses to make that choice in life, regardless of where they live, regardless of their orientation. We will no longer have gay or straight marriage in America. There will be marriage. While a lot has been said about elected officials, I want to say to all of you, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for speaking up. I want to thank you for speaking out. I want to thank you for never giving in and never giving up. It has been a journey from Stonewall to the Supreme Court. A journey that you have asked others to join. And those who came before, when as was noted, there was never a sign, and now to allow us to think of and be in a city and a country with a different set of values. And what I mean by that, this decision obviously means tremendous of things to the gay and lesbian community. But it means something to us as a city, a state, and a country. All of us try to raise our children, and I can say this for Amy and I, with a sense of values to respect differences and diversity. And I can't thank the gay and lesbian community enough for waging this battle, so we finally have a set of laws that actually reflect what we are trying to teach our children at home. And I want to thank you for that. Until this day, we had a different set of laws based on different sexual orientation. And if you try to teach your children to respect differences and understand there may be differences, but it doesn't mean you get treated differently. While this victory is no doubt a victory for the gay and lesbian community, it allows America to be truer to its values and allows all of us who are trying to teach our children to respect those differences and embrace them. If we can share it in a little way, I want to thank you for allowing values that we teach at home to become the values of our city, the values of our state, and finally not only the values of our country, but the law of the land. So thank you very much. We as a city have joined with one voice behind one set of values. And if you want to be a forward-thinking city, you cannot have a set of laws that are backward-looking. And when we changed Illinois, as I like to say, so goes Chicago, so goes Illinois, now so goes America. I do want to say one other thing, and I get the distinct honor of introducing a great state representative. But for the battles that we're talking about, he is no longer just a state representative for his constituents, although they have the first claim. Representative Greg Harris has not just been another vote. He's been a voice for the values we're talking about. He has been tireless. And the truth is, for a lot of us who are elected officials, the ability to do what we need to do not only means that we were raised with a set of values, but also have the support from the community that we feel and get energy from to continue to fight for. Greg has never given in, never given up. And when he's been a lonely voice for the only voice, he knew what he was fighting for. And so today marks a milestone in Greg's journey of making sure that the state of Illinois and the United States is on record for a set of values that all of us embrace. And because of his tireless leadership, we can celebrate today because of a great person who has taken his own experience and made his politics personal. Ladies and gentlemen, State Representative Greg Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Wow. You know, like a lot of us this morning, you know, I got on, as I have every morning for the last couple days, on the SCOTUS blog to read the decision of the Supreme Court that happened, to see if our Constitution in our country would recognize lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people as equal citizens of this country. And I expected yes, but, yes, and a lot of explanation. And the Supreme Court of the United States this morning ruled simply yes. Yes, the full promise of America includes every citizen, lesbian, gay, bisexual. I'm so proud to be an American today, and proud of what our country has achieved, and proud of what we've achieved together. And this little pin I've got here, this little rainbow flag, was given me a couple years ago when I went out to a college gay-straight alliance, and they gave it to me to symbolize the hope that sometime in their lifetime, you know, they would see, you know, themselves and their comrades treated as equal citizens in this country. And it wasn't in their lifetime. They're still in school. It was within their graduation time, so it's a couple of years. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a remarkable journey, but it has not been a journey that was done quickly, as Art said. This has been a journey that has involved, you know, so many people across our state and across our country. It has involved faith leaders, it has involved business leaders, it has involved political leaders, it has involved Republicans, it has involved Democrats, it has involved people in cities, in towns, in villages, in the suburbs. People who never gave up, people who always saw the promise of America, and people who made this day possible. And to them, we all owe a tremendous debt of gratitude. Helped blaze that trail here in Illinois was the Senate sponsor of the marriage equality law. As somebody who picked this battle up because it was the right thing to do. It didn't necessarily affect her and her husband and her kids, but it affected her neighbors, her friends, and her community. And it was also just the right thing to do. So it's now my pleasure to introduce my colleague, my great co-sponsor, and a wonderful leader in the Illinois Senate, Senator Heather Staines.
Sort of took a historic leap forward, but based on values that were written in the Constitution nearly 150 years ago. They were relying on the 14th Amendment that simply declares that equality to all. Everyone has the right to the same protection under the law. And with that ruling this morning, every single state must issue marriage licenses to anybody who applies for them across this country. Wow. Now, I remain incredibly proud that Illinois has really been in the forefront of a lot of these battles. With the help of everyone up here, Art and Lambda and Greg, Kelly, we're going to hear from in a minute. So many of the aldermen who are here, Zeb Mel, we have Alderman Kappelman, who I know we have, of course, Tom Tunney, Sarah, who am I missing? Sarah Feigenholz and Williams. So many folks who got to press those buttons, but we only got to do it because everyone here really pushing for these things for so many years. We have been one of the first states to prohibit discrimination based on gender equality. We were one of the first to get civil unions for protections for couples. And then finally in 2013, we recognized that we call those relationships that were state-sanctioned by committed, loving, same-sex couples what they are, marriages, plain and simple. And this has come a journey in my lifetime. As Greg said, it's not something that was personal for me, but it has become so in this lifetime. I mean, one of my sons now identifies himself in the community. And he could do so in a very opening and welcoming way here in Chicago, knowing we're at the forefront, always pushing for his rights and everyone's here's rights. So it has been a journey that has been an honor for me to be a part of. I want to thank all of you in this room. The victory really belongs to everyone here. And love rules. Thank you, Lambda. And now Kelly Cassidy's going to come up. She's been heavily involved in this from the House as well. She's one of the reps that I get to work with all the time. She and I know her kids are here as well, have been fighting on the forefront of this for her entire career. Kelly Cassidy.
This morning, like Greg, we've been constantly refreshing SCOTUS blog, and I didn't know what I was going to feel, and all I can say is gratitude, and it's gratitude on a lot of levels, and it begins with so many who aren't here. Larry McKeon, who was alone in the House, and started laying this groundwork. John Pennycoff, Bill Kelly, who we recently lost, and a beloved member of my family and many other families in this room, Bernita Gregg, who owns a piece of this victory today. So many of us who stood with us before it was safe or easy, the relatively small handful of folks who voted against DOMA here in Illinois and at the national level, Sarah Feigenholz being one of them, our Senate President John Cullerton being another. They were in very, very lonely company at that time. Before we really had our own voices in those chambers, we had allies who were there for us when it was not a very popular thing to do, and I will forever be grateful for that. Those who took the risk in 2013 and in the earlier votes to join us on the right side of history, in particular the members of the Republican Party who did so at complete risk of their careers, but this morning talked to me about how proud they were to be on the right side of history with us. my family in particular, who's always supported me. I'm really, really lucky. My sister just happens to be here be here for Pride. We grew up in the South. I grew up in a place where people go for destination weddings, and I never believed in a million years I could get married on my island. Imagine that. It is now the law of the land. And so Teresa is here, and we grew up in a big conservative Irish Catholic family who didn't blink an eye at who I am, because we all just love each other. We grew up knowing love is love. And so I'm so glad you're here to share with me. It's kind of cool. And then my boys. I mean, plain and simple, they're the reason. They're it. They've witnessed the words that Chief Justice Roberts referenced in the decision today. I choked up when I read that he said that families like ours should never be told they are less than. And they have literally faced people who have said that to them. Who talks to a child that way? Nobody's ever going to get to do that again. My strong, brave boys have stood up to that. They've stood up with me. They've stood up for me. They put up with a lot. They give up a lot to let me do this. And I am so grateful. In the very beginning of this process, Josh, the biggest guy now, was in the car with me during a radio interview, was playing, and somebody said something about the not real families, and in a category I'd like to refer to as backseat wisdom. It happens a lot. I heard a small voice say, "Mommy, I don't get it. God knows we're a family. Why don't they?" And today they do. But Josh's words carried me through a lot. We are not done. As you've heard me say before, we can't take our cake and go home. We can celebrate this weekend, and we will. But until all of our allies who stood with us are just as free and equal and safe as we are, until we have taken care of all inequality, until all hatred is eliminated, we're not done. We owe a debt to those who carried us to this point, and I intend to lead us towards paying that debt. Today, it's gratitude. Tomorrow, back to work. One of the people that we owe a huge debt to. Woo! Pat! A member of the 14th District family, and a leader in our efforts, Pat Ewert.
This is amazing. Those of you that knew Renita Gray knew she never missed a party. And so today, when you're celebrating and having a drink and dancing and being with the one you love, I want you to all just take a minute and think about Renita Gray and her legacy and the things that she really brought to our community and helped our community accomplish. I feel so honored to be up here. I feel lonely to be up here without her. But she's in my heart, and I know she's in yours too. So thank you very much.
You can have both. You earned them.
Does everyone have their champagne? Or club soda, because, you know, we respect everyone. The mayor is drinking club soda because he has important decisions to make afterwards. We can feel good about that.
Here's to equality and justice for all. Marriage now, the law of the land.